The official one-world religion is now more plausible than ever. Get ready.
We must ensure that religious freedom will never be a mere abstraction, but a concrete right. We defend everyone's right to religion, to hope, to beauty, to heaven. For this reason, the Catholic Church, which tirelessly proclaims the inviolable dignity of each person created in the image of God, also believes in the unity of the human family, and because all share a common destiny, namely God. Let us press ahead on this path, walking together on earth as children of heaven.
The papacy makes every effort to create a Chrislam religion.
Number 13. We recognize the importance and value of the document on human fraternity for world peace and living together between the Holy See and Al-Azhar al-Sharif, adopted by the UN General Assembly in Resolution A, Res 75-200 of December 21st, 2020, and the Makkah Declaration, adopted in Mecca in May 2019, which calls for peace, dialogue, mutual understanding, and mutual respect among believers for the common good.
In case you are wondering where this is headed, in 2019, Pope Francis and Ahmad Al-Tayeb, the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar, signed an important document entitled Declaration of Human Fraternity for World Peace, which we briefly covered in this video. See the description link if you want to catch that critical video. Following the agreement, the United Nations adopted the resolution. This is not a minor document signed by two religious leaders. In collaboration with world political leaders, these world religious leaders are creating the framework for one world government and one world religion, with the papacy serving as supreme leader.
Daniel says God will destroy Antichrist at the return of the Lord Jesus. In Daniel chapter 11, he is presented as a ruthless, arrogant, proud king who will do as he pleases, a blasphemer without parallel in human history, magnifying himself above every god, speaking monstrous things against the God of gods, showing no regard for the God of his fathers, forsaking the religion of his ancestors. He will magnify himself above all. He has a religion, he has an ancestral religion which he forsakes. We're not sure what it is, but it is interesting. In Daniel 11, it says that he has no interest in the desire of women. He has no desire for women, which may mean he's a homosexual, or it could be that he will be a heterosexual celibate. Some think this indicates he could be a pope. God will judge him and bring him to an end at the return of Christ.
If you think Pope cares about the gospel of Jesus Christ, you are mistaken. How can a man who claims to be another Christ, that is, the vicar of Christ, care about salvation or sharing the gospel of Jesus with the lost? Instead, the Pope cares about ecumenism and being the world's supreme spiritual leader. Fast forward to 2022. On September 15, 2022, the 7th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions officially ratified the Human Fraternity document, bringing us closer to a one-world religion. Here are a few additional takeaways from this Human Fraternity document formally approved at the 7th Congress of Leaders of World and Traditional Religions. Number 10 of the document states, "We note that pluralism in terms of differences in skin color, gender, race, language, and culture are expressions of the wisdom of God in creation. Religious diversity is permitted by God, and therefore any coercion to a particular religion and religious doctrine is unacceptable." We would agree if this phrase meant that no one should be coerced to believe in God or join any religious group. However, we believe this is a subtle swipe at Protestant Christians who advocate for evangelism. This is not Pope Francis's first expressed displeasure with Christian evangelizing or proselytizing. We covered that in this video, and here's a highlight. Jesus said, "Go and make the disciples of all nations and preach the gospel to the lost." But Pope Francis says, "Don't do it, and if you dare to do it, you're not a Christian." Really? According to Pope Francis, those who tell non-believers about Jesus Christ are not true Christians.
The Pope was giving a talk to some high school students in Rome, and one of the students asked the Pope, saying, "How do you deal with atheists and people of other faiths?" The Pope responded, "Christians should never proselytize, and that any who do are not truly Christians." He insisted, "We're not living in the time of the Crusades. For one thing, The Catholic Church sees that their numbers are being decimated right now by converts. In South America, the Philippines, and many other countries that used to be a Catholic stronghold, people are leaving the church in droves, partly because of the sexual scandals, but mostly because they're converting to Protestantism. The evangelical and charismatic churches have thousands, if not millions, of Catholics that are leaving the Catholic faith, and they are becoming Protestants. And the Pope is saying this. And in Europe, Catholics are even converting to Islam. The Pope is saying we shouldn't proselytize. He's saying it as though Christians shouldn't do it. What he's really doing is he's saying, stop proselytizing us, that you shouldn't be doing that. And the other thing is, the Pope clearly is trying to build a confederacy of Christians and other religions to form this one world religion where he sees himself as the ultimate leader.
Did you know that soon, if the Lord permits it, you might be charged for saying that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, and that no one comes to the Father except through Jesus?
The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, that's the UNCRC, and they write here, if this treaty becomes binding in the United States, the government would have the power to intervene in a child's life for the best interests of the child. Currently, the government can intervene in this fashion only by going to court, proving that parents have been abusive or have neglected their children. This means that whenever the UN-dominated social services system thought that your parental choices were not the best, the government would have the power to override your choices and protect your child from you. If this treaty becomes binding, all parents would have the same legal status as abusive parents, because the government would have the right to override every parental decision if it deemed the parental choice contrary to the child's best interests. Specifically, spanking would be banned under the express terms of the UNCRC. Moreover, children would be required to be taught in a religiously tolerant manner. The American Bar Association, which supports the treaty, has already opined that teaching children that Jesus is the only way to God violates the spirit and the meaning of the UNCRC. Ooh. Now, that's the United States of America. What about the rest of the world? They've done it. Done deal. Signed the UN Convention. They're packaged and sent to Hades.
Number 20 of the Human Fraternity document further states, we call on political and public figures, journalists and bloggers, while recognizing their freedom of speech, to beware religious generalization and not to identify extremism and terrorism with any nation or religion, as well as not to use religions for political purposes. Yikes! Essentially, they're saying that if someone commits a crime in the name of a religion, they should not be associated with it. This sounds like language copied from Ahmad Al-Tayeb, the Human Fraternity document's co-signer.
And we have to find the real roots of terrorism outside the context of the Holy Quran and the precepts of Islam. The parties that are promoting these false accusations need to find the real causes of terrorism that are linked, as mentioned before, in biased policies and double standards, as well as the greed of a minority defending its international and regional interests through the arms race and flourishing arms markets.
It's an exciting moment to be alive. While it can be frightening to witness all of the craziness around us, remain encouraged, since it all seems to point to Jesus Christ's imminent return. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the doors. Matthew 24, verse 33. The King is coming soon. Be encouraged, and if you don't know Jesus, turn to him today for salvation.